Hello and welcome back to the Encryption Edge, where we talk about all things tech and cybersecurity. I'm Wyatt Hackthorne, and today we're diving into the question that keeps popping up everywhere. Are we using AI too much? And to start it off, I don't mean is AI evil or should we go live in the woods and live off the land. I'm talking about how AI has become so baked into our lives, personally and professionally, that it's starting to feel maybe a little bit too normal for a lot of us. So, to break it down, I want to kind of go through some things personally, and then I want to show how it's kind of changing the workplace and what we might do to pump the brakes a little bit. Starting with everyday life, AI is everywhere. It's in your music recommendations, it's rerouting your GPS around traffic, in your Gmail, fishing for information. It's everywhere. And a lot of companies are actually developing their own AI tools like Copilot and stuff like that that are helping you with every task. Even if you think you're not using AI, you might be using it. And it's super convenient, but also when is the last time you typed a full sentence without autocorrect or suggestions? For me, that's been probably a very long time. There was a study recently that this one in Nature that looked at how people were starting to form emotional connections with AI companions like chatbots. And while some folks found it helpful, especially if they felt, lonely, researchers also flagged that as it could be leading to more isolation over time. Kind of like instead of reaching out to a friend, you might just talk to a bot. And there's no judgment. I've definitely asked ChatGPT for advice when I didn't feel like bugging another person, but it does make you wonder if AI is always there. Do we start turning to it first other than, going to it second for your problems? Now, for work, AI is kind of like a new coworker that has is just by your side helping you all the time. And we'll talk a little bit about the workplace itself and using AI as well, because this is where it kind of comes into the field of, are we using it too much, are we relying on it too much, and from a security perspective, are we leaking information? AI tools are everywhere in the office now. They've got marketing teams using it for writing blogs, we got sales reps getting help drafting emails, and even developers using GitHub Copilot to crank out code. Even HR is using it to use AI as screening for resumes and applications. It's not just tech companies, it's banks, hospitals, schools. Really, everyone is starting to integrate AI into their environment and their organization. And it's not really being monitored, it's not really being watched and made sure that people are not exposing sensitive information or personal identifiable information like emails or customer information. But here's kind of the kicker. A report from Cyberhaven found that almost 5% of employees have copied and pasted sensitive company data into ChatGPT. Stuff like code or internal emails or financial data straight into AI. And now they're not doing it maliciously, or maybe they are, but most people are doing it to speed up their workflow, and it's not malicious and they're trying to save time. They're saying, hey, ChatGPT, write me this code or help me debug this code. The problem lies is that the code that you're debugging might be sensitive. But I think a lot of people don't realize that once it's out there, it's out there. That data could be used to train future models, and yeah, some companies like OpenAI say they won't use that unless you opt in or you check a box, but people still don't know where this information is going, and that can be dangerous for companies. Samsung had this happen actually. Employees accidentally leaked source code, and people like JP Morgan, Amazon, Verizon, they've kind of all locked down AI tools, and stuff like this is starting to happen everywhere. If you're thinking, well, my company really hasn't said anything about AI or our policies, that maybe could be a problem as well. KPMG did a study where they found that over half of employees use AI at work, but they don't really talk about it. They don't really tell their bosses. I think a lot of people just assume that it's okay in the real world and that it's not a big deal if we use it in this sense. You got to be careful when putting information into ChatGPT or any code or anything like that, because it's going to cause an issue when stuff that is personal information is getting leaked to other companies or AI tools. Um, Now, let's kind of get real. AI is helping us do more faster, but Are we also getting mentally lazy? Are we relying on it too much? I think this is kind of a conversation when the internet first started, that are we relying on Google too much? And now it's kind of shifted to this, are we relying on AI too much? There was another study, this one was done by psych.org, and that showed that people are starting to lose confidence in their own decision making after using AI too much. Basically, once you start offloading certain kinds of thinking, you kind of stop practicing those basic skills, basic decision making, and it can lead to people feeling like they actually don't have confidence in their decisions because they think one thing and AI is telling them something else. I've seen this with developers. You get kind of used to Copilot writing for your functions, and pretty soon you're like, wait, how did I write this from scratch, or what? Who wrote this code? And it was actually written by you, AI, aka ChatGPT. Same with writing. You ask ChatGPT for a blog or post or summary, and it's fine, but maybe you're not really thinking through the messages, and AI got something wrong, and that's also a problem too, is misinformation. You're not reading through what ChatGPT is writing for you, and that information is being put out into the public, and people are reading it and thinking that it's from a credible source, and maybe it's not. We're kind of not outsourcing tasks anymore, we're outsourcing thinking. So let's kind of come back to the big question though. Are we using AI too much? I'd say maybe. It really depends on the person and the company and their policies, but more importantly, we're using it without enough awareness is the big thing. And here's kind of what I mean. AI itself isn't a problem. It's kind of the complacency surrounding it that is. If you're not asking questions like, should I trust this output, or is this safe to share, or how do I safely use AI, then that's kind of where the risky part comes in. Is if your organization doesn't have any policies and things that are set to reduce the amount of risk that you're putting on AI, then I think that is something to start with for your organization. Because, like I said, AI itself isn't the problem. It comes when people are misusing it. When using AI, I think we just need to slow down and check ourselves a little bit more. If you're pasting sensitive information into a tool you barely understand, probably not a good idea. If you're auto accepting AI replies in every conversation, maybe take a pause. And I think we need to form better habits at work. Talk to your team, set some boundaries, maybe even draft up a simple AI use policy. Nothing fancy, and it doesn't need to be super restrictive. People just need to understand what information can and cannot go into AI. Just enough to keep folks thinking about something before that they paste it into an AI tool. Because AI should help us. I don't think it should replace us, though, obviously. I know a lot of people that I work with or that I know personally that use AI a ton. There's also people that I know that don't use AI and don't want to rely on it and don't even want to think about it. But I think AI is very helpful and can be an amazing tool, but it needs to come with some caution because people need to understand the tool to actually use it. I think all in all, that is the biggest point and the biggest thing for me that is important for the use of AI. I think AI is like I've said 100 times throughout this podcast itself, it's very powerful and it's very useful. If you've ever used it for anything, it really is amazing how quickly it can spit something out that would take you hours. But understanding how the tool works, understanding that it's not flawless, that it has quirks and is not always spitting out super accurate information, and that anything that you paste in there, it can't be sensitive. It's got to be something that's neutral. It can't be with customer information or sensitive code for your organization. So it's important to understand what is and isn't allowed to be pasted in an AI tool for your organization. And that's going to kind of depend on the policies that you set, but that is kind of the first step to making sure that sensitive information is not getting pasted into AI. All right, that's it for today's episode of the Encryption Edge. If that was interesting to you, share it with a coworker or a friend, maybe the coworker or friend that uses AI a little bit too much. But let's keep the conversation going. I want to hear from you guys. How are you using AI right now? Are you setting limits? Does your company have some policies set? And are you starting to wonder if it's creeping into your habits a little bit too much? If you guys have any suggestions for topics, you can leave us an email at info@encryptionconsulting.com, or you can give us a comment if you're over there on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Stay secure.